On this episode of Bake Across Europe, we're traveling to France. After the 12 days of Christmas, at the very end on January 6th, Christians throughout Europe celebrate Epiphany, which is the Feast of the Three Kings, where the three kings from the east came to visit Jesus and worship him and bring him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So on this day, all throughout Europe, different countries celebrate with a king cake made in many different ways. In France, the most well-known is the galette des rois, and that is 2 layers of puff pastry filled with frangipane. But today I'm going to show you the lesser-known version from southern France, from Provence, called the briochée des rois, or the king brioche. And it's a brioche dough scented with orange blossom water and orange zest, filled with some candied fruits, and then baked into the shape of a crown. And then it's decorated with pearl sugar and candied fruits on top to make it look like a king's crown. One of the traditions that goes along with making a king cake or a king brioche is to hide a trinket on the inside known as la fève, or the bean. So you can hide a bean or an almond, or in France they sell little trinkets made out of porcelain, usually traditionally in the shape of baby Jesus, but they come in all different shapes, sizes, and themes. And you hide it in the cake, and whoever gets the slice with the fève in it gets to be king for the day. While traditionally eaten on January 6th on Epiphany, the galette des rois and briochée des rois are sold in France in pastry shops and bakeries all throughout, from Epiphany up until Mardi Gras, the day before Lent begins on Ash Wednesday. So if you don't have time to make it today, it can be enjoyed all throughout January and half of February. So come along with me and let's get started, and I'll show you how to make the Southern French king cake. For this recipe, you're going to start with a pre-ferment. You'll need 50 grams of all-purpose flour, 8 grams of active dry yeast, and 50 milliliters of lukewarm water. Mix all of those ingredients together in a small bowl, and then when combined, cover with a tea towel or plastic wrap and let sit for an hour to let rise. For the remaining ingredients, you'll need 350 grams of all-purpose flour, 65 grams of granulated sugar, 8 grams of salt, 115 grams of unsalted softened butter, 3 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of orange blossom water. I was able to find this at a local Middle Eastern store. Then you'll need the zest of 1 orange and 60 grams of candied fruit. I used 20 grams each of lemon, citron, and orange peel. You'll also need candied fruit for the top of the brioche. I used candied cherries, orange peels, citron, and lemon. And also traditional to the decoration is pearl sugar. I ordered mine online and put a link below for anyone interested. And I forgot to show here, but you also need apricot jam, just for glazing the outside of the brioche.
you'll need a little trinket to hide inside. Whoever finds this gets to be king for the day, as goes the local tradition in France. And you can use a bean or a almond if you don't have one of the little porcelain trinkets that they sell in France. Now in a mixer, combine your dry ingredients, the flour, sugar, and salt. Then add in your pre-ferment, egg yolks, orange blossom water, and the orange zest. Also add in the softened butter. Combine all of those ingredients together and then get a small bowl or measuring cup with lukewarm water and pour in a little bit at a time as it's mixing until you have a cohesive, smooth, and shiny dough that pulls away from the sides of the bowl. And then once you've achieved that, put your mixer on medium and let it knead for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, take the dough and put it into a bowl and cover it and let rise until doubled in size, about an hour to an hour and a half depending on the warmth of your kitchen. Then knead in the chopped candied fruit. I began to mix mine in the mixer, but found that it was actually easier to do this by hand and switched to that, as you'll see in a second. Then place the dough on a lightly floured surface, and then you're going to shape it into the shape of a boule, as you'll see me do here. Now you're going to use something to make a hole in the center of the dough. I used the end of a wooden spoon. You can use a rolling pin or an elbow or whatever is easiest for you. Then you're going to stretch and pull the dough until the hole is big enough that the bread looks like a crown. Then transfer the dough to a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and brush with an egg wash, which is 1 egg whisked with a couple tablespoons of water. I decided to place a metal ring in the center of the dough so that it wouldn't come together while baking. And then I covered with plastic wrap and let rise for about an hour until it puffed up. And then I glazed it one more time with an egg wash. Now bake in a 350 degree Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius preheated oven for 30 minutes. It should be golden brown and have an internal temperature of 190 degrees Fahrenheit or 88 degrees Celsius. Then place on a cooling rack to completely cool before going on to the next step. To hide the baby Jesus in the cake, or whatever trinket it is that you're using, take a sharp knife and make a small slit on the bottom, and then insert your trinket into the bread. Now warm your apricot jam and strain it of any fruit, and then glaze the outside of the cooled brioche with the apricot jam. Now take handfuls of pearl sugar and create a border around the bottom of the brioche. It should stick pretty easily because of the apricot jam glaze. Next, decorate with the candied fruit. The point of it is to make it look like a crown for a king. So you can decorate however you'd like, but what I did was I took the chopped fruit and I put it around the bread, and then I arranged on orange slices, and then put on the candied cherries to look like jewels.
I hope you enjoyed the recipe. Let me know in the comments below if you give it a try and what you think of it. It's the lesser known version of king cake. Not many people know of this French king cake. They're mostly familiar with the galette des rois from the northern part of France. If you're interested in buying a porcelain fève, I've included a link below to the Etsy shop where I bought mine, and I've also included a link to pearl sugar because I know in some countries, like here in the United States, it's not very commonly sold in grocery stores. Also, if you'd like to follow me on social media to see what I'm doing in the meantime between videos, you can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or on Pinterest. I'll include those links below if you want to click on those and give me a follow. And as always, let me know if there are any recipes from Europe that you'd like to see in future videos. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time.